நீங்கள் பார்த்து கொண்டிருப்பது உங்கள் RSKV யூடியூப் சேனல்.
Income Tax Inspectors Exam 2015 Paper 3 Allied Laws. Question number 1. Under which section of the Indian Succession Act 1925, if a person dies leaving movable property in India, in the absence of proof of any domicile elsewhere, succession to the property is regulated by law of India. Section 1919. Codicil according to India Succession Act 1925 is 1. An instrument made in relation to a will explaining, altering or adding to its dispositions. 2. Is deemed to be a part of the will. 3. Copy of a will certified. Select the correct option from the following. 1. An instrument made in relation to a will explaining, altering or adding to its disposition. 2. Is deemed to be a part of the will. These are correct. Both are correct. 1 and 2. The domicile of a minor as per section 14 of the Indian Succession Act 1925 follows the domicile of the parent from whom he derived his domicile of origin. Select the correct option from the following. True. A married woman may dispose by will any property which she could alienate by her own act during her life. Select the correct answer. True. A has bequeathed 2 lakh rupees to B and 1 lakh rupees to eldest son of C and has made no other bequest. A dies leaving the sum of 2 lakh rupees and no other property. C died before A without having ever had a son. Will Part 5 of Indian Succession Act relating to intestate succession apply? Select that answer. Correct answer. Yes. 6. Next question. Rules under Chapter 2 of Indian Succession Act in cases of intestates do not apply to parties. A will can be revoked in the following manner. 1. By execution of a subsequent will. 2. By burning or tearing the will. 3. By some writing and declaring an interest to revoke the will. 4. Otherwise destroying the will. Select the correct answer from the following. All of the above are correct. As per Indian Succession Act, every person of sound mind, not being a minor, may dispose of his property by will. Which section of the Act deals with it? Section 59. As per Section 2C of the Indian Succession Act, minor means any person subject to the dash who has not attained his majority within the meaning of that Act, and any other person who has not completed the age of 18 years. Fill up the blank picking up the correct option. Indian Majority Act 1875, 9 of 1875. Bracket. A person is said to have notice of a fact for the purpose of the Indian Trust Act 1882 to in following situation. When he actually knows that fact. B. When but for willful abstention from enquiry or gross negligence, he would have known it. C. When information of fact is given to or obtained by his agent under the circumstances mentioned in the Indian Contract Act 1872. Answer all of the above. Breach of trust is defined in which of the following section of the Indian Trust Act 1882? 3. Under Order 21, Rule 31 of the Civil Procedure Code 1908, a decree for specific movable property can be executed by seizure. SEIZURE. Beneficial interest in a trust is a right against the trustee vested in beneficiary of the trust. A conveys property to B in trust to apply the profits for the nurture of female foundlings to be trained as prostitutes. The trust is void. For the purposes of Registration Act 1908, the state government makes suitable provision for the safe custody of the records connected with the registration of documents in each district and supply the office of every registrar with fireproof box. Documents executed on or after the date of the following acts, which come into force, shall be registered compulsory. The Indian Registration Act 1866, the Indian Registration Act 1877, both A and B are correct. Section 17 of Registration Act 1908 provides for A. Documents which are compulsorily registrable. C. Documents which are not compulsorily registrable. Both A and C are correct. Which of the following require compulsory registration under Section 17 bar 1 of the Registration Act 1908? A. Instruments of gift of immovable property. B. Lease of immovable property from year to year or for any term exceeding 1 year or reserving a yearly rent. Both A and B are correct. A non-testamentary document is one which is intended to take effect or be operative immediately on its execution. Which of the following does not require compulsory registration under Section 17 of 1 of Registration Act 1908? A. Any instrument of partition made by a revenue officer. B. Any certificate of sale granted to the purchaser of any property sold by public auction by a civil or revenue officer. A decree or order of a court expressed to be made on a compromise and comprising immovable property other than that which is the subject matter of the suit or proceeding is not compulsorily registrable. An authority to adopt is compulsory registrable. Co-personary is limited to how many degrees from common ancestors? Can be more than 4. After the Hindu Succession Amendment Act 2005, who have become co-partners in their own right? Daughters of co-partners. If the information sought under RTA Act concerns the life or liberty of a person, the same shall be provided within dash of the receipt of the application, 48 hours. If, even after the expiry of the stipulated period of 30 days, the PIO fails to give a reply or decision to the applicant seeking information, such PIO shall be deemed to have refused the request. The right to information under the RTA Act 2005 is available to all citizens of India, whether resident or non-resident. The number of days provided under Section 11 bar 1 of the RTI that allows the PIO in respect of information which relates to or has been supplied by a third party and has been treated to as confidential by that third party to issue a notice inviting the third party to make a submission in writing or orally regarding whether the information should be disclosed is within 5 days from the receipt of the request for information. As per the RTA Act 2005, on receipt of the notice under Section 11 bar 1, the third party may make a representation against proposed disclosure of information within dash from the date of receipt of notice, 10 days. As per RTA Act, record includes A. Any document or manuscript or file. B. Any microfilm, microfiche and facsimile copy of a document. C. Any reproduction of images or images embodied in such microfilm, whether enlarged or not. All of the above are correct. Breach of trust is defined in Section 3 of the Indian Trust Act 1882 as a breach of any duty imposed on a trustee as such by any law for the time being in force. As per Section 4 of the Indian Trust Act 1882, A. The purpose of a trust is unlawful if it is B. Forbidden by the law if such a nature that, if permitted, it would defeat the provisions of any law. C. Is fraudulent. All of the above. Answer all of the above. Where a trust is created for two purposes, of which one is lawful and the other is unlawful, the two purposes cannot be separated. The whole trust is void. For creation of a trust, it is essential that trust property is transferred to the trustee. Which of the following is an exemption to this general rule? A. Trust declared by will. B. Where author himself is to be the trustee. Both of the above are correct. X, Y, and Z are co-owners of a property which is mortgage. Now, Z transfers his share to A. Which of the following is correct? A can claim partition of his share. B. A can claim separate possession of his share. C. The share of A is no longer subject to mortgage. Answer 1 and 2. A can claim partition of his share. A can claim separate possession of his share. An immobile property has several co-owners. They transfer a share therein without specifying that the transfer is to take effect on any particular share of the transferors. Which of the following is true? In case the shares are unequal, the transfer shall take effect proportionately to the extent of such shares. A person L lets out a property to M at a rent of ₹1,000 per month. Subsequently, he transfers the said property to a person N. However, he does not intimate M of the said transfer. Not being in the knowledge of the said transfer, M continues to pay L monthly rental for a period of 3 months. By how much is M chargeable with the rent so paid? 0. Chapter 4 of the Transfer of Property Act 1882 deals with mortgages in immobile property. How many different types of mortgages are defined in the Section 58 of the Transfer of Property Act 1882? 6. The decree of the regards the court means formal expression of an adjudication. The property situated at Meerut is mortgaged as security for loan. The suit for foreclosure of loan by bank can be instituted at Meerut. P residing at Noida, New Delhi beats Q at Bangalore. Q may sue P at Noida, New Delhi or Bengaluru. X of Shimla, Y of Kolkata and Z of New Delhi were together at Mumbai for a business deal. Y and Z signed a joint promissory note payable on demand in favor of X at Mumbai. In case of dispute, X can sue Y and Z at Mumbai, Kolkata or Delhi. The property which is not liable for attachment and sale in the case of decree of maintenance of a person is 1/3 of salary of concerned person. Issue and service of summons under the Civil Procedure Code 1908 is covered under Order 5. As per Order 16 of Civil Procedure Code 1908, the time for serving summon is reasonable time. The person desirous of obtaining any summons for the attendance of any other person shall file in court an application stating therein the purpose of summoning the concerned person. The court may issue the commission to hold scientific investigation, B. to make a local investigation, C. to hold technical investigation, D. all of the above. Answer D. all of the above. As per Civil Procedure Code 1908, share in a corporation shall deem to include stock, debenture stock, debentures, bonds, etc. As per Section 11 of the Indian Succession Act 1925, any person may acquire a domicile in India by making and depositing in designated office in India a declaration in writing under his hand of his desire to acquire such domicile, provided that he has been resident in India for dash years immediately preceding the time of his making such declarations. Select the correct option for filling up the blank. Answer 1 year. The word administrator in Section 2A Indian Succession Act 1925 means a person appointed by competent authority to administer the estate of deceased person when there is no dash. Fill up the blank. Answer executor. When there is no executor. Section 62 of the Indian Succession Act 1925 deals with 1. Execution of unprivileged wills, 2. Revocation or alteration of wills, 3. Persons capable of making wills. Answer only 2 is correct. Revocation or alteration of wills. According to the provisions of Indian Succession Act 1925, intermeddling with the goods of the deceased for the purpose of preserving them or providing for his funeral or for the immediate necessities of his family or property does not make an executor guilty of any wrong. Select the correct answer from the following options. True. Part 2 of the Indian Succession Act shall not apply if the deceased was a Hindu, 2. Mohammedan, 3. Buddhist, 4. Sikh or Jain. Answer all are correct. As per the Indian Succession Act, the time limit for registration of a will is 1 month, 6 months, 1 year. D. None of the above. Answer D. None of the above. What would be the presumption under the Indian Succession Act if a will is lost and could not be found after the death of a testator? Select the correct answer. Would be presumed that the same has been revoked by the testator. As per Section 3 of the Indian Trust Act 1882, a trust is defined as an obligation annexed to the ownership of property and arising out of confidence reposed in and accepted by the owner or declared and accepted by him for the benefit of another or of another and the owner. Where a testator bequeaths certain property upon the trust and the purpose of the trust appears on the face of the will to be unlawful, the legatee must hold the property for the benefit of the testator's legal representative. For the purpose of Indian Trust Act 1882, registered means registered under the law or registration of documents for the time being in force. Under Order 47 Rule 1 of the Civil Procedure Code 1908, a judgment can be reviewed on the ground of A. Mistake of fact or law on the face of the record, B. Discovery of new and important evidence not within the knowledge of the party concerned. Both A and B are correct. In a case of one and the same decree, the attachment of salary under Order 21 of the Civil Procedure Code 1908 can continue for a total period of 24 months. A bequeaths certain property to B, hoping he will continue it in the family. This does not create a trust, as the beneficiary is not indicated with reasonable certainty. A bequeaths certain property to B, requesting him to distribute it among the such members of C's family as B should think most deserving. This does not create a trust because the beneficiaries are not indicated with reasonable certainty. The books of necessary for the purpose of Registration Act 1908 A are provided by state government for the office of every registering officer. B contain the forms prescribed by the Inspector General of Registration. Both A and B are correct. The words purpose or operate in Section 17 Bar 1B of the Registration Act 1908 refers to A. The ultimate consequences of the instrument, B. Immediate intention of the instrument, C. Collateral effects of the instrument, D. All of the above. Answer D. All of the above. Section 17 Bar 1D of the Registration Act 1908 applies to a lease from year to year. The lease covered under Section 17 Bar 1D of the Registration Act 1908 is compulsorily registrable. For the purpose of Registration Act 1908, the state government may, by order published in the Official Gazette, exempt any lease executed in any district or part of the district from compulsory registration where the terms granted by lease do not exceed 5 years and the annual rent reserved by which does not exceed 50 rupees. Exemptions under Section 17 Bar 2 of the Registration Act 1908 relate to both Section 17 Bar 1B and Section 17 Bar 1C. Which school does not recognize the principle of survivorship bracket unobstructed heritage bracket close? B. Answer Daya Bhaga. A inherited property from his inherited property from his father. He has no son, son's son or son's son's son. At this point, he alienated this inherited property. Then a son B is born, which is correct. B cannot claim interest in the said property. In Hindu law, a father-in-law is bound to provide maintenance to his widowed daughter-in-law. She is unable to get maintenance from her father. As per Section 19 of the Indian Trust Act 1882, a trustee is bound to keep clear and accurate accounts of the trust property. Who can revoke the trust created by will? Testator. Which amongst the following information is not exempted from disclosure under Section 8 of the Right to Information RTA Act 2005? The confidential telephone number of a government employee, the disclosure of which endangers this life or physical safety of his wife and children. The structure of fees payable under the RTA Act is as follows. For central government department, rupees 10 for filing the request, photocopying charges of rupees 2 per page of information and rupees 5 for each hour of inspection after the first hour, while the different state governments fix their own rules for their departments. Which of the following rights are not automatically permitted under the provisions of Section 2J of the RTA Act? Collect details on the financial backgrounds of the employees of the organization. In a case, Sri Ramkumaran of Mysore requested the Income Tax Department that he be provided the balance sheet of a third party, Sri Raja Kuti of Salem, and balance payable by Sri Kuti to the applicant's company, since Sri Kuti stood accused in a case of cheating the applicant's company. The CPAO would be justified in rejecting the request since information which a third party entrusted to a public authority in discharge of a legal obligation, such as tax payment, is prima facie personal information. Which section of the Income Tax Act mirrors of objectives of Section 8 bar 1 of the 8 bar 1J of the RTA Act, which is paraphrased terms, provides that unless it is proved that any personal information requested to be disclosed is related to a public interest or activity, such information shall be exempted from disclosure. Section 138. Which one of the following is true as per RTA Act? Trade and commercial secrets protected by law, disclosure may be allowed if public interest in disclosure outweighs in importance any possible harm or injury to the interests of such third party. As per Section 7 of RTA Act, disposal of request under Section 6 is done in 30 days, 30. As per Section 7, Subclass 8, where a request has been rejected under Subsection 1, the Central Public Information Officer or State Public Information Officer, as the case may be, shall communicate to the person making the request A. The reason for such rejection. B. The period within which an appeal against such rejection may be preferred. C. The particular of the appellate authority. D. All of the above. Answer D. All of the above. Which one is true as per Section 8 of RTA Act? A public authority may allow access to information under Official Secret Act 1923 if public interest in disclosure outweighs the harm to be protected interest. In RTA Act, information means all of the following except oral evidence. A gift of future property is void. As per Section 53 of the Transfer of Property Act 1882, every transfer of immovable property made without consideration with intent to defraud a subsequent transferee shall be voidable at the option of the transferee. To which of the following Section 5 to 37 of the Transfer of Property Act 1882 apply? Transfers of property whether movable or immovable. In the transfer of property with condition, the condition is void and transfer is valid where transfer is made with the condition restraining absolutely future transfer of such property, where a transfer is made absolutely with the condition of restraining enjoyment of such property. Both are correct. Under the Transfer of Property Act 1882, the transfer of property may be made by delivery of property except where transfer is required to be in writing under the law. As per Section 108 of the Transfer of Property Act 1882, if a property is materially rendered unfit by any natural calamity, the lease may become void at the option of the lessee. As per Section 107 of Transfer of Property Act 1882, which of the following leases need not be made by a registered document? Leases for a term of less than a year. The rights and liabilities of the lessors and lessee are described in which section of Transfer of Property Act 1882? Section 108. Which of the following disqualifies a transfer to be categorized as gift under Transfer of Property Act 1882? Transfer made in the presence of a consideration. A makes a certain transfer by way of gift to B. However, A dies before B accepts the said gift. Which of the following is true in this scenario? The gift becomes void. The state government may exempt any class of agricultural produce from liability of attachment or sale in execution of decree until the next harvest. True. The person executing any process under the Civil Procedure Code 1908 directing or authorizing the seizure of movable property must not enter the dwelling house. A. Before the sunset. B. After the sunrise. C. Both above. A and B. D. None of the above. Answer D. None of the above. As per the customs, SRK does not appear in the public PQR. The person executing the process under Civil Procedure Code 1908 must A. Give notice to SRK that he is at liberty to withdraw. B. Give reasonable time to SRK to withdraw. C. Must observe all precautions to prevent SRK's clandestine removal. D. All of the above. Answer D. All of the above. Under Civil Procedure Code 1908, the judgment of a court on question of law has been reversed or modified by the subsequent decision of Superior Court. It cannot be a valid ground for review of the judgment. The property not in the custody of any court is under attachment. North Canara District Court attached the property on 16/1/2015, while South Canara District Court passed the decree for the same property on 17th February 17 to 2015. The procedure to be followed is: first execute North Canara District Court and then South Canara. Under the Indian Succession Act 1925, property shall go to government where the intestate has left no widow A, B, no lineal descendant or those who are kindred to him. Both A and B are correct.